So, what should I talk about?
Just ramble for a second.
That's good.
Yeah.
Alright, 7for7, episode 3, with Josh Ropey this time. I'm going to take 7 shots and talk about 7 shots from movies that I like a lot. I'm mixing it up. It's Espelon this time, rather than Jose Cuervo, because it's better this way. You can see the menu. Alright.
Wait, can you just... the minion...
Shot 1, starting off simple. Simple because I only sort of remember this movie. I need to rewatch it, but I remember the shot, and that's what's important. Bunny and the Ball with Noel Fielding, I think his name is. He's like, if you know about The Mighty Boosh, it's like with those same guys. There's a transition scene. It's a really stylized movie, just like in the look of it. There's one scene where it's zooming in on the main character in bed. He's asleep, and then he like turns around and his bed, like he opens it like it's a door and walks into a club. So like, I remember thinking that was really cool because, you know, I didn't know a lot about the technical aspect of shit, but I remember it really sinking in that like, oh, he was never lying in a bed. It was just he was standing up straight and the camera was, you know, not really above him, because he opened a frickin' door. Let me check what shot number 2 is. Here we go, going fast with this.
Feel free to take your time.
In trouble.
I took my time.
Reed stalled.
Yeah, read that.
I'm cracking open the chaser for the second one, because...
Do you want water?
No, I'm a professional.
Alright.
I'm a professional, thank you, though. Shot 2, from one of my favorite movies, In Bruges. It's when Ray Fiennes, it's like final chase showdown sort of thing. Ray Fiennes is chasing Colin Farrell, and Colin Farrell goes through the hotel that he's been staying at, and they have the discussion. It's like funny, it's quirky, la da da, but he jumps out the window and into an alleyway, and so Ray Fiennes has to go chase Colin Farrell down the alleyway, and it's just like the camera's at the end of the alleyway looking down it, and you see Colin just run down it and then turn, and that's all fine and good, but then like a second later you see Ray Fiennes run down the alleyway, and he's not running that fast, and it just takes forever, and you so badly want it to cut to something else, and like the music is still really intense, so it feels like it has to, but it just doesn't. It holds on him running down the alleyway for way too long. And it's just like, it makes you feel so frustrated. Like, more needs to be going on here, but like, it's a great way to build tension. That was shot number 2. I can't believe I'm already on 3. Never. So 3, this one's for my mom, because she never shuts up about this shot. It's from The Godfather. Enzo the baker. He shows up and they're outside the hospital. They have a hit to do, and Al Pacino comes out. Who asks for the cigarette? Is it Al Pacino or is it Enzo? Somebody asked for a cigarette. Enzo lights one. He just like did something shifty and his hands are shaking, because you know he did a fucked up thing and a normal person reacts that way. But then he hands the cigarettes to Al Pacino and he's totally calm, collected. Like, he takes it, his hands are not shaking, and it makes a point to show you that. And my mom always says that's everything you need to know about his character and what he's gonna become. And it's true. So that one's from my mom. Oh man, where's Ethan? Shot 4 from Spirited Away. I guarantee some motherfucker is gonna be watching this and be like, animation's not shots. But you know what? You're fucking wrong. It is a conceived thing in somebody's head, and they drew it, and it still has angles, so up yours, Hollywood. There's a lot of awesome shots in Spirited Away, but it's, the one I'm talking about is she just sees that her parents are turned into pigs, and she's freaking out. This, like, the entrance into this new world that she's stuck in. Understandably, Chihiro's first reaction is to, like, run away and shit. So she like runs to where the entrance to where she just showed up was, but it's suddenly like an ocean. And she lands in the water and she's just like, what the fuck? Like, water's here now, okay. The score kind of settles. It's like not as intense anymore, but it cuts to a shot of like a huge ass boat in the water, like very far away. And it just shows it in the distance and it's kind of blurry. And I saw this movie in 4th grade and I thought this shot was one of the creepiest things I've ever seen, and I'm not really sure why. I guess it's like the score is kind of creepy, but I just remember I saw that boat and felt really uneasy, like, oh, something like bad is coming. And you know, it ends up, it's not bad, it's just tourists, but, well, I guess. Oh shit!
Did he just take the fifth? Or?
He's about to take the
about
fifth.
to do 5.
Yeah.
It's been like.
Don't think about how much time it's been.
I feel like I'm not drunk enough now.
Yeah, do you?
Like I want to be doing these last 3 shots like way drunker.
Josh, they found you. Guys.
Oh fuck. Shot numero 5 from one of my favorite movies, Harold and Maude. I could write like a fucking paper on just this one shot. It's where Harold and Maude, they're on like one of their kind of dates, and they're walking through a field of flowers, and Maude asks Harold, what kind of flower would you like to come back as, like when you die? And Harold says, oh, I don't know, one of these maybe, and it's like they're in a field of like identical, just like plain ass white flowers. Maude says, why would you want to be one of these? And Harold says, because they're all the same. And Maude is like, no, they're not all the same. Like, some are like wilted, some have fewer petals, some have more. There's just like a whole bunch of differences. Everyone is different. It cuts to this shot of, it's a super long shot of them in a graveyard. But like the cut is awesome. I guess this shot, like, it's not the shot itself, it has to be in the context to make it why it's so great. It's a super long shot and they're in this graveyard and all the tombstones are white. Like, so when it cuts from the field of the flowers to the tombstones, it's like for a second you're like, oh, they're in the same place. But they're not. Just all the tombstones are white. It zooms out to see just how fucking expansive this graveyard is, and just like all the tombstones. There's like fucking thousands of them. I don't know if it's a real graveyard, where they did it, but if it was, that's a lot of dead people. Anyway, all the tombstones are the same, so it's like this weird contradiction. It's like in death everyone's the same or whatever, but so it's this weird, like the movie sets up this weird hypocrisy as to what Maude is saying. Also, it's just an amazing cut. I remember seeing that transition and being like, wow, like I want to make movies, I want to do that. I am drunk. Fuck. Give it to me straight. Has it been below or more than half an hour? I think all of us have done that. So like I'm about to take a shot and then just laugh and turn. So The Land Before Time. This movie always makes me cry. It's the shot where you know at this point that Littlefoot's mom is dead. This is another animated movie, so it's still another shot. I'm gonna force that point super strongly. Animation is a very legitimate medium. So Littlefoot's mom is fucking dead because she fought this T-Rex and lost. Well, she didn't really lose, but she got injured enough to die. Littlefoot's been dealing with the death of his mother, and there's a point where he's like, he continues the journey to the Great Valley on his own. He like sees this rock wall because he's traveling through a lot of cliffs because it's the prehistoric era, and he sees his own shadow, but because he's far away from the wall, it looks like it's a big shadow, and he thinks it's his mom. And he runs over, and it's the saddest thing ever. and he starts like greeting his mom, and then he realizes it's him, and it's like, fuck, my mom is still dead. And so it's really bad, and it just confirms that, oh, this worst thing that can happen happened, and it makes me cry every time I see it. Wait, I need to get my son for the final shot. I'm gonna pour this, and then I'm gonna go get my boy. My poor boy, it's kind of bright for him, right? We're gonna take this last shot together, and then I'll put you back. Right? This is from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. First of all, I'd like to say fucking anyone who says this movie is bad is wrong, and you're stupid. And here's why. You all like every other Marvel movie for no reason, just because the studios say to, and they're all the fucking same. Whereas Amazing Spider-Man 2 is also kind of similar, but it has legitimate, like, theming, and it's a little different. And guess what, bitches? It's just, like, the best comic book movie that'll ever be made. Maybe it's not, right? It is like you're watching a comic book, and it's incredible. The shot is after Electro's doing his business. Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, has to chase after him. So he's chasing after him, and it's like this super cool chase, like across the city. And Spider-Man is swinging through the cities of New York, because that's where he lives. It pans from, he's like just swinging through this. It's kind of a close-up because through these buildings, and then it goes, he makes this like nice leap out of his swing into this fucking huge ass shit, and he's in front of this fucking enormous building that's just getting electrified, and it's all blue, and all the windows are blue, and it looks amazing. And the Amazing Spider-Man, he's in front of the building, and it's just like all getting zapped, and you can hear Electro. Who's the guy that played Electro? Jamie Foxx? Jamie Foxx, that's right. And he's just like, "Can you see me now, Spider-Man?" And it's just like, that is such a fucking comic book thing. And it's amazing. And like, the best that Spider-Man will ever be is the PlayStation 1 video game, the first one. And it just got everything that Spider-Man is supposed to be. It just nailed it, the video game. And that movie is so close in tone to what the video game was. And that line in particular is like what solidifies it. Because that's almost the exact intonation that fucking Venom said Spider-Man. It was like almost the same thing. If you say Spider-Man, like almost without the R, you've got me sold. That shot is awesome because it's like, whoa, this is the final chase. And what? It's just a great fucking looking shot, and that movie is so CGI, like everything. It's also the shot that made me realize, like, wow, this movie is super heavy in CGI. But you know what? It doesn't matter because it still looks good. And maybe in a few years it won't, but who cares about a few years from now? The Earth's gonna be gone. How long has it been? You can tell me now, because it's all of them. How long has it been?
Like 20 minutes.
No, I'm kidding. I'm not.
I would say 45 minutes.
45 minutes?
Definitely.
Okay. Alright. Guess what? I need to list. Where did my phone go?
Listen from memory.
I need to
too.
listen from memory. But I'm happy to do that, but I still want to know where my phone is.
Yeah.
So, first one was Bunny in the Ball. The Godfather was like fourth. I don't know. There's Spirited Away. Land Before Time. That was one of them. In Bruges. Did I just say 5 shots?
Yeah, it was 5.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Harold and Maude. So that's 7/7 right there. I'll tell you that much. Baby, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah. Fuck. Bunny and the Bull. You don't know that movie. It doesn't matter. But he opens a door.
It's going to be a terrible
This
shot.
is an awful shot.
content,
Alright.
If it's good content.
In the spirit of content.
To the blog.
It's goodbadtastemedia.com.
goodbadtastemedia.com/WordPress.
But like that is kind of what it is. Like he didn't cover Starman, but the album is a tribute to David Bowie in a way.
I gotcha.
Or like the themes that David Bowie evoked about the dangers of like fame and multiple identities on stage and stars.
I actually think that I feel like Irving did a better film than Trouble. What I feel like I'm easy, I was asking him. I think he said